No, I try and find people who've got a sort of rich internal life, if that doesn't sound too pointed, because I'm trying to get a recognisable human presence that still has some element of mystery to it. I mean, a good example is the concept of the unknown soldier. We know he's a soldier, he might have done something, he might have been through something, but we don't know actually who he is. So I'm aware that my figures, while being everyday, there's a sort of heroicism to them. So it's a seated man like the piece here, or they're enduring, and they're, it's a universal thing that I'm trying to capture. It's just something I've always done. I think it's a way of expressing myself. Clay is fascinating. I mean, obviously I model all the figures in clay. They go through many different stages until I either abandon them or I think they're kind of finished. And then I'll come back and I'll paint them, and that's a whole other, so sometimes I'll make 2 or 3 versions of the same piece and paint them in slightly different ways, trying to kind of get to the truth of it. Despite the fact they're all based on real people, I'm a little coy about telling anybody who they are, and the space there for the viewer to engage or not engage with the sculpture. I chose to make figures right from the outset, but I sort of feel the figurative element it's a huge subject matter. I mean, it'll occupy me to my dying day, I'm sure. And so now pieces in here, some are plaster, some are clay, some are bronze, but they all look very, very similar. The size is interesting. The scale is crucial, as well as the context. I mean, sculpture, it's all about how you encounter it, what eye level it's on. I'm very particular about my plinths, the heights, if possible, the room. And I did have a revelation a few years ago. I saw a play, and it struck me at the end of the play, when they all stand still, that it was pure sculpture. It was lit. You've got the background, the floor. And people use the theatricality sometimes as a bad word, but to me it's fascinating because it's a kind of heightened reality. And you can get that sort of heightened reality in something smaller, you empathise. When they're bigger, I tend to go 15 or 20% bigger than life size. And then it becomes you become more of a child in relationship to that sort of semi-heroic, bigger thing. One of the things I haven't done for a long time is sculpt children, and I realised there was this point where our kids sit around the table that seemed to lend itself to an idea of a sculpture. This is a bronze sculpture that I've deliberately painted to look like the piece did when it was still in wet clay. And I think this has that sense of both the children being linked as siblings, there's that connection that they'll always have with each other, and also that sense of them growing and changing. There's a kind of fixedness to the painted sculptures, which, while it could be very appropriate for a particular subject matter, I think for them, somehow it's more mysterious in this, the way we've got it here at the gallery. So in the current show, we've got 4 or 5 examples of sculptures based on the same individual. And while that might seem strange, I've known him over 10 years and I'm still finding something new about him. It's extraordinary. There's a kind of muscle memory of sculpting him, and I think as he changes, it's something I feel I could work on for another 10 years. It's very mysterious. And it kind of gets to the core of trying to capture a human life. There's something very elusive about it and about him. And I think, a lot of people hide their emotions and actually don't give away very much. And working with, whether it was the homeless guy that I sculpted or this guy who's an actor, there's a sense of their emotions are expressed through their bodies in a quite a revealing way. The thing about Folly, he was based on a very specific individual. So the jacket, the fact that his shirt is caught slightly under his jacket, these details are very important. You know, you can just tell by looking at him that he's not thinking about his clothes or how he's standing. He's kind of locked up in a particular moment in time. I suppose if there's a sort of line that you could take through the people that I've chosen to sculpt, there's that sense of their presence. I'm kind of aware of their presence. There's something that they exude that I feel I'm almost stealing. And I can't really quantify it, but I know what it is when I come across it. I'm not that keen to have explanatory panels on the wall next to my sculptures. I mean, the funny thing about them being anonymous is that in a given enough time, we'll all be anonymous. You know, it will not be known who they are if they last that long. And so that's gives me a kind of freedom. So, you know, in a way, if I tried to explain that this happened and this happened and this happened and that's why the piece is here, I'm not sure it helps. You know, I think I want the work to go out into the world and either fail to connect or connect with people on its own terms.